what's up? For most people, takeout chicken tikka masala is like the gateway drug that got them into Indian food. It introduces you to the pungent, intense cooking style of India in a very craveable way. Today, I'm gonna show you how to make a slammin' version of it at home. To get started, I'm gonna make a Tikka Masala Spice Blend that I'll use for the gravy and the chicken. To make it, I'll combine 10 grams of cumin, 10 grams of paprika, 10 grams of curry powder, 10 grams of garam masala, and 3 grams of chili flake. Next, I'll just give that a quick stir to combine, and there we go. Sweet, warm, a bit spicy, and very intense. Next, I'll just set that aside and then grab some chicken. I'm going with boneless, skinless thighs because I'm gonna be grilling these things with super high heat later on, and breast meat dries out in that situation a little bit too easily. Next, I'll just scoot these thighs into a medium bowl, then marinate them with half of the masala spice blend that we just mixed. I'll save the other half for my gravy, then a good long squiggy of olive oil, 200 grams of plain Greek yogurt, 20 grams of salt, the juice of half of a lemon, or about 20 grams, 20 grams of garlic that I've grated on my microplane, or if no microplane, just chop it, then 20 grams of ginger that I've also grated on my microplane. And by the way, don't bother peeling it if you're just grating it into a pulp. Now, behind the aromatics, I'll just jump in and toss everything together until the gurt is combined with the spices and the chicken is all slathered up. Next, I'll just pop on a lid and then move this over to the fridge to marinate it for as little as 15 minutes if you're weeknighting, but preferably 1 hour. While that marinates, I'll grab one large peeled onion, a box grater, and then I'll just grate that into a pulp. This grated onion is gonna soften super quickly, speeding up the cook time dramatically, and it will also melt into the background of the sauce, giving us a nice little bit of rustic texture, which I really like in chicken tikka. Be advised though, grating onions makes your eyes water a lot more. Oh my God. Basically, that's because you're breaking a lot of the cell walls, releasing more of the sulfur oxide thing that makes you cry. It's strong. Next, I'm gonna use that microplane that I just dirtied up a second ago to grate 4 to 5 cloves of garlic, or about 20 grams worth, and then I'll do the same to a small knob of ginger. Again, I'm looking for about 20 grams. And once I've got the aromatics for this gravy all grated up, I'll grab one little baby serrano chili and then give it a small dice. This chili brings some much needed spiciness to cut through the rich fattiness of all that heavy cream. But if you're heat sensitive, maybe swap this serrano for a poblano instead. Oh, and if you're gonna use a serrano, make sure to wash your fingers really well so that you don't burn your wiener. Next, I'll head outside and preheat my grill to its highest setting. We're trying to approximate the 900-degree F tandoor that takeout Indian places have, so we'll need all the heat that we can get. Back inside, I'm gonna make my masala gravy. For that, into a heavy bottom pot, I'll add in 30 grams of ghee, or olive or coconut oil, and once that's melted, I'll add in all of my grated aromatics along with my chili and then a strong pinch of salt. Now I'll just jump in with a wooden spoon, spread that out, and fry these for 2 to 3 minutes. If your garlic is getting just a little bit too brown before the onions and chili are all the way soft, just add in a tiny splash of water to deglaze and then scrape up any brown bits before they burn. And after about 2 to 3 minutes of frying, these onions are soft and everything is smelling super fragrant. So next, I'll add in my spices. In goes the other half of that masala blend that we made earlier. Then I'm back in with my wooden spoon to stir those up, and I'm gonna get everything frying together with the onions. By the way, I'm over medium heat right now. Any more heat than that and the spices would definitely get smoky and burn. I'll toast these for another minute or so to open up their flavor, and once I've got everything cooked into a nice brown paste like this, I'll add in one 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. Texturally, these Bianco di Napoli tomatoes are coarse, but not chunky. If your crushed tomatoes are overly chunky, throw in a stick blender and spin them up for 20 to 30 seconds. Now I'll just stir in my tomatoes and then use my wooden spoon to scrape up any spices that might have grabbed onto the bottom of the pot. From here, I'll turn the heat down to low and simmer everything for 1 to 2 minutes while I quickly thank Tommy John for sponsoring this video. Time for a quick wardrobe change.
Hey, YouTuber Brian Lagerstrom here. I know you didn't recognize me because I wasn't wearing a blue apron and a blue shirt, but just like you, I like to be comfortable.
I'm chill. Sometimes I like to sit on the couch and just relax. And right now I've got the Tommy John Henley and jogger set, which is so soft and so buttery on my skin. I've also got a pair of their joggers and a second skin tee that I edit in a lot. But both pieces are also versatile enough to wear to the store or for when you're traveling. Oh, and the last thing that I can't forget to mention is my Tommy John second skin undies. These are supportive, but also stretchy and breathable, and the waistband doesn't dig into your skin or roll when you wear them all day.
So to pick up some very soft and premium quality loungewear for you or as a gift for someone that you really like, click the link in my description below and use code BRIANL2 or scan this QR code to get 25% off your order. Plus, people who spend over $75 will get free shipping anywhere in the US. Very sick.
Back at the stove, everything's been simmering for about 2 minutes, and now it's cohesive and slightly thickened. So to finish, I'll add in 3 grams of salt, 7 grams of sugar, and then stir everything to combine. The salt's gonna make the sauce taste more like itself, and the sugar's gonna help cut through the acidity of the tomatoes. Lastly, I'll add in 250 grams of heavy cream and stir that in. Now is really where you get to see the comparison to vodka sauce. It's bright orange in the exact same way, and it's basically made of the same things: fried aromatics, concentrated tomato, and heavy cream. Just add in some spices and you go from vodka to masala pretty quickly. Texturally, this sauce should be thick but not gloppy and have just a little bit of a coarse texture. For me, a super creamy, smooth sauce is better suited for butter chicken. Tikka masala, on the other hand, should be rustic, acidic, and a little bit more spiced. For now, I'm gonna set this sauce aside and then head outside to cook the chicken. Before I do that though, I need to season the grates liberally with oil. I'll first do that with an oil-soaked paper towel. This is gonna lube up the grates and clean off any burnt residue that might be stuck to them. And then just to make sure that things are very, very well seasoned, I'll add on some pan spray. Be careful though, because it can flame up. Make sure to do this at a distance. I'm super lubing this grill because the yogurt marinade really wants to stick, but it's nothing that a lot of pan spray can't solve. And once I got all 12 pieces of this marinated chicken down, I'm gonna grill it for 5 to 6 minutes untouched on the first side. 5 to 6 minutes later, I'll come back and carefully flip the chicken over. But instead of using tongs like I normally would, I'm gonna use a metal spatula. This is gonna help scrape the yogurt chicken off of the grill without tearing it up too much. And once my thighs are flipped over, I'm gonna give them 2 to 3 more minutes on the backside to catch a char and to finish cooking through. By the way, if you don't have a grill or you don't wanna fire yours up, you certainly could do this recipe under a very hot broiler. Just make sure to flip halfway and get a deep char on both sides. And after 2 to 3 minutes, this chicken is looking beautifully charred and cooked through. So I'll snatch them off the grill and then bring them inside to finish the dish. To do that, I'll quickly chop the chicken down into bite-sized pieces that will hold sauce well. If you go too small on the chop, the sauce is going to overpower the meat, and texturally all you'll get is wet soft. That's not good. And once my chicken is all chopped up, I'll just slide it into the masala gravy and then give everything a quick stir to combine. I did notice that as this sauce sat, it tightened up a little bit, so I'm gonna stir in a little bit of water to thin it out slightly. If the dish is reduced until it's gloppy, it's gonna sit way too heavy on your tongue, and that fatty cream will blunt the bright acidity and pungent spice. Now to serve, I'll just pile it onto some long grain Indian basmati rice. Top that with some chopped fresh cilantro, and then add a little bit of thinned out yogurt. This is just heavy cream and Greek yogurt mixed together with a little bit of salt. This brings a cold hit of lactic acidity and cuts through the rich, creamy sauce. And there we go, chicken tikka masala at home that rivals anything you'd get from a proper strip mall Indian place here in the US. It's spiced and it's spicy, but it's not too much. At the end of the day, it's an Indian vodka sauce that's unbelievably craveable, it's very crowd pleasing, and it's super easy to make. I really hope you try it soon. And if you want to learn how to make its richer, creamier cousin, butter chicken, check out this video right here.